Every organisation has to have a structure, large or small, private sector or public sector, local, national or multinational. There's always a need for the people in the business to know who's in charge, what their role is and who to turn to if there are any problems. All of this is achieved through structure or hierarchy. It is important to realise that different firms will be structured in different ways depending on their size, their culture, their activities and their history. First of all, size. A large multinational will have lots of branches and subdivisions, each having its own hierarchy. So, for example, one person may be head of the UK division of the organisation, so top of the UK hierarchy, but not top overall. Next, culture. A more autocratic business will tend to have a taller structure, whereas a more democratic business will tend to have a flatter structure. Next, activities, or what the business does. The nature of the business will influence the structure, so a more creative business will tend to have a need for a flatter structure as it is seen to encourage ideas to be created and developed, because people feel more equal. Last of all, history. Structures evolve and are difficult to reorganise. Therefore, roles important in the past may remain in a structure after the need for them has passed. The aim of this section is to consider whether traditional hierarchical structures remain relevant in modern businesses. Over time, successful organisations grow and as a result will tend to employ more people to cope with extra work. Over time, these roles may not remain vital, causing the structure to need reviewing as it no longer reflects what now suits today's markets. Hierarchical structures can become too tall with long chains of command, or individual departments can grow quickly, causing a manager's span of control to become too large. Each of these can cause poor communication and coordination, and if left unchecked, can be a cause of diseconomies of scale. Over recent years, many firms have delayered their organisational structures in an attempt to modernise their organisation structure. However, this has proved to be a controversial policy because it's not always seen as achieving its aims. To change a structure in this or a similar way is an important issue and has been a popular theme for exam questions in the past. Note that in your examination you will need to apply your answer to the case study.
Welcome to Biz Today. I'm Hayley Fairclough. Local engineering firm Smith, Jones and Brown plc today announced the loss of up to 75 jobs as a way of improving efficiency and helping to aid communication within the organisation. A spokesman for the company said, "This is undoubtedly good news for the firm and our shareholders." Smith, Jones and Brown plc have grown rapidly over the past decade, but if they're to continue to compete in world markets, they must have a structure that works well. They'll be moving 2 layers of middle management, with the responsibility for these roles being passed on to others in the new, better structure. They hope to minimise the need for compulsory redundancies by seeking voluntary redundancies and natural wastage. Again, in the long run, they believe this will improve their business. Local community representatives and the firm's union representatives expressed real concerns over the impact of job losses on the local economy. They were also concerned over the loss of members' jobs having been announced with no real chance of consultation. OK, that's all today from me, Hayley Fairclough, on Biz Today.
The gains from delayering are improved communication because there are fewer layers in the hierarchy for messages to pass through, more responsibility, and as a result, better motivation of those who take on wider roles, reduced costs. Obviously, if the overall staff numbers fall, the wage bill may be cut. Well, that sounds good for the company. What's the downside? Firstly, it causes staff to be made redundant. Okay, so this will incur short-term cost cutting, but possibly demotivate remaining staff. Next, the loss of knowledge held by those removed, usually experienced managers. This is referred to as a loss of corporate memory. Not sounding such a good idea now, eh? Losing staff could also affect customer relationships. What I mean by this is that redundant staff may have had key contacts with customers which could be disrupted and lead to loss of sales. These points for and against could form the basis of an answer to a question for this topic. The answer must be developed in the context of the case study, and for a longer question, you'll be expected to make a judgment. For example, judge whether delayering is in the best interests of the firm at this stage. People are the most important resource for any business, but as a resource, it's one of the hardest to manage. And the worst part is that it's totally unpredictable because we can't take into account the impact of our emotions. How we're managed or how we manage others will have a major impact on business performance. Leadership is carried out by people at higher levels of the organisational hierarchy. The style of leadership has a major effect on the organisation. In your studies, you should be aware of a range of styles, including autocratic, paternalistic, consultative, and democratic. For each style of leadership, you need to be aware of what it is, its good and bad points, and under what circumstances it's best. It's too simple to state that one style is always good or always bad. In the exam, make sure you relate it to the situation in the case study. The following scenarios will help illustrate each style. For each, consider the good and bad aspects of using that particular style and what impact it will have on the people and the business. The decision made is deliberately simple to allow you to focus on the things you need to know.